there, how are you all doing today? It's a beautiful day and I'm super excited to be here. Before I go on, I want to apologize for not being here in a while. Yes, I have missed doing this and I have missed you all too. So please feel free to comment, what have you been up to, what have you guys been doing? For me, it's just been life in general, alright? If you are watching this video for the first time, make sure to subscribe. I want you guys to please join the family. Let's do this together. We'll be having videos, come out in good succession. So make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss anything out of these, of what's happening here, alright? Today I'm going to be talking about something really interesting. It's interesting because I was having a conversation with my sister and she asked me a question. She was like, hey, if you were to be at a bar or maybe a club or just at a store and you saw this guy from afar and you felt like he was attractive, he had things going on for him and you wanted to just explore like what's in there, what would you do? Would you walk up to him to ask him on a dinner date? What would you do in general? And I kind of thought about it and I was like, I feel like in time past I have restricted myself from doing things like that, and I'll just like walk away because of my introverted personality. But just in general, I would say like I have started to put myself out there and I've started to take a different approach when it comes to things like this, and I want to just share. And before I go on, I want to say this, it's so important that as you navigate like trying to decide on a relationship, keep an open mind. If your relationship doesn't end in marriage, it doesn't mean that that relationship wasn't successful. There are some relationships that are in your life to help you learn how to do the next relationship. Some relationships are there to help you build your network. Some are there to provide you business connections. So be open-minded, all right? Now, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the life cycle of your crush, okay? So let's say you were to meet a guy. The first thing I would say is, number one, think about the environment. If it's a guy that you feel like you're going to be seeing more often, maybe it's at work, I think that you should do some research. Find out about him. Find out if he has a girlfriend. Find out if he has a wife, even. Yeah. So you don't put yourself in the wrong place, all right? Now, if you are at a place where it's like the spur of the moment and you're like, I don't want to miss this guy. Maybe it's like a wedding and you're like, let me shoot my shot very fast. That's fine. One thing I would say is put yourself together. I know you have that crush. Because sometimes when we have a crush, we're very awkward. And honestly, that's not the best thing you want to do to yourself. So put yourself together, walk up to him, and just have a friendly conversation. Nothing, no pressure. Like, don't talk about anything that's too deep. Just ask him about how is he doing, what does he do for work, things like that. And one thing I would say is because you are thinking about exploring this, make sure that you start to evaluate that, that first stage of the relationship. You don't want to get into the weeds and then start to find things that you could have found even in your first conversation. So no pressure, but just gently, match the conversations with your values. I feel like for every girl in life, you should have at least 4 values that drive your life, maybe more, maybe less, but have values that drive your life. So I'll give you an example. Maybe one of the values that you have in your life is respect. And you're talking to this guy and he keeps talking over you, constantly talks over you. You know for a fact that if you were to be with this guy, maybe that might not work. While you might not want to judge him quickly, but that's already a red flag that you should keep in mind if you decide to go through with that relationship or if you decide not to, okay? Good. So match your values against that conversation. If everything is good to go, tick. Next stage. The next stage is check out for reciprocity. Is he feeding your energy? Are you giving him an energy level of 80% and he's giving you 40%, right? So let's break this down. So let's say after your conversation, you guys exchange contact, you got his number and you're texting him. Is he texting you back? Is he texting you in a year, in a month, in a week, in a minute, all right? So look out for that. If there's reciprocity in that relationship, good. I feel like at that point, you're like 50% to the mark, all right? Anyways, the next thing that you want to look out for is this word that I call, guess what it is? I think you guessed, right? It's vulnerability. When you start to exchange, conversations with a guy and things like that, I feel like the stage that you want to get to start to, consider that relationship in a very, very deep fashion is when a guy is starting to get vulnerable with you. And even though vulnerability sounds like a word of weakness, it's such a strong force, I think, that binds people together. When a guy gets to that point where he's able to share his weaknesses with you, he's sharing his dreams with you, he's not afraid to be himself around you, I think you're at a good place. In fact, I feel like you're 70%-ish, towards the mark, okay? One thing that I want to mention here is when a guy starts to get vulnerable with you, resist the urge to be judgmental. Because remember that you are not perfect yourself, all right? So the caveat though to that is that when a guy is communicating his vulnerabilities to you, his weaknesses to you, ask yourself, can I pay the price of his vulnerability? Because the truth is, for every relationship, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be paying the price of someone else's weaknesses, whether you know it or not. So I'll give you an example. When a guy tells you, I've had problems with unfaithfulness in time past in my relationships or infidelity, now, while that is great that he's vulnerable with you, and I think he shouldn't be judged because like everyone has a past and everyone is struggling with something, I think that you also want to ask yourself, can I pay the price? If you feel like it's okay, I can manage that, I can share my man, I can help him navigate that process, good for you, good for you. If you feel like it's not something that you can handle, if you're the girl that cannot stand seeing your guy with another woman, then you know that you are probably not able to handle that, all right? If, say for instance, he shares with you about like his money management skills and he's like, oh, I'm trying to improve on that. That might be a weakness that you might feel like, oh, I can take that on because I'm an accountant, I know how to manage money, or maybe in just general, I have good financial management skills. Now, because you've been able to count the cost of his weakness, when you go into that relationship, there will be no surprises. Because now you've seen what his weakness is, and now you're saying, I want to take this on. I'm willing to carry this load. Because love is not about the feelings, it's about your decision, right? Now, once you guys decide that, we're vulnerable with each other, we can take on our weaknesses and things like that, great. The next thing you want to do is to find out if you guys want the same thing. Now, people can be vulnerable with each other, people can enjoy each other's company, but they might not necessarily want the same thing. I mean, I've dated guys who are great, we have wonderful conversations, and they just want something else with their life other than what I want with my life. And that way I know that this would just end in a very, just a very normal friendship. It would not end in anything beyond that, if that makes sense, all right? So also ask yourself, what does he want for that relationship? Not just in life in general. So let's say you're a girl, for instance, and you're already thinking about marriage in the next, say, 1 to 2 years. And you're in that relationship with a guy. You want to find out if that's exactly what he also wants for that relationship, or just in general in life. One of the ways that I would, I can recommend to you to find out about that is not to be, unnecessarily like desperate or put him under unnecessary pressure about it. You can ask questions like, hey, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And if a guy tells you about his next 5-year plan and there is no marriage in there, and you know that you want to get married in the next 2 years, then you know that you guys don't want the same thing. And there's no need like forcing yourself. I've seen a lot of girls, you're talking to this guy, he's telling you his 5-year plan, and there's no marriage in there. And then on your 2nd anniversary, you're sulking about not getting a ring, a proposal. What are you doing? Don't do that to yourself, all right? When you find out what he wants in the next 5 years, ask yourself, can I forfeit my marriage goals to go with this guy who wants to be married in the next 5 years? And that's okay, because he might have things he wants to do with his life, right? And you also have things that you want to do with your life. So these are questions that you want to find out before you start to commit to this guy. And finally, once you decide that you guys want the same thing out of life, once he decides that, oh, there's marriage in my 5-year plan, great. The last thing to find out is, yes, he wants the same thing as you, okay? But does he want the same thing with you, all right? A guy might want to be married in the next 5 years. You are his, girl, you guys are going out, you're hanging, out together, but does he want to do long term with you? And these are some of the things that girls don't realize that they have to pay attention to. And that's why you see girls who've been with guys for like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and then he goes ahead to marry somebody else. These are things that you can help yourself. So let's help ourselves together. One question that I think that you can ask a guy when you feel like, he's feeling me, where everything is going on well, does he want to do the same thing with you? And the way that you can ask him is, hey, what are the qualities that you would like in a girl that you want to be married to? And this is the part where you listen. Don't let your mind be going around and be thinking of different things. Listen. If he tells you, for example, that he wants a girl that cooks, cleans, maintains the house, and that you're not cut out for the kitchen, you always envision someone else doing that for you, which is not bad. You know for a fact that he can't do that with you because the girl that he just described, you don't fit into that mold. And that's the part where you tell yourself the truth. Now, I'll give you an example of myself. I remember dating this guy and, I thought everything was okay. But at some point, I felt like there was a sort of like, strain between us. And I went ahead to ask him, I was like, hey, what are you looking for in the girl that you want to end up with? And he describes the girl, first of all, physically. And I'm just like, I look nothing like the girl that he just described. And that's the part where I was just like, you know what? Peace out. I would see you very soon, but not in the context of marriage. Because you know what? You don't want to put yourself under that pressure of trying to fit into the mold of another man. Don't do that to yourself. You are perfect by yourself. That doesn't say that you cannot improve yourself. But don't let anyone put you under a certain pressure to be someone that you are not. Because there's somebody that likes you the way you are. And once you start trying to deviate from who you really are, then you just deprive yourself of getting the right person, if that makes sense, right? So anyways, in conclusion, make sure that you are checking your values against conversations. Don't just sit there and be looking at his abs and his nice arms. Focus, all right? The next thing is check out for reciprocity. When I hear a girl say, oh, how do I know if a guy is interested in me? Girl, that question is your answer. He's probably not interested in you. If a guy is interested in you, you would know. Simple and short, okay? The next thing is check out for, vulnerability. If he's getting vulnerable with you, if he's open to you, if he's able to share his dreams, his aspirations. Very awesome. How about what he wants? Do you guys want the same thing? And even if you guys want the same thing, do you guys want the same thing together? And one thing that I wanted to also mention is the fact that, when you go into that process of building a relationship, don't see yourself as the prize. Don't see yourself as the one that, I want this guy to be attracted to me. Also, you also have the chance to make a decision. Don't leave yourself at the mercy of a guy making a decision about you. You also are a human being. You have the power to make a decision about a guy. So at any point during that process where you realize something is off, feel free to leave. Don't stay with a relationship and be hanging around a guy as if there was scarcity of men in the world. All right? You'll be fine. If you find a guy that fits into all this, and most importantly, if you find a guy that wants what you want, or that wants to see you succeed as much as you want to see yourself succeed, I think that you found a very good man. Keep him very close. Until then, stay single and happy. You'll be just fine. Alright, I had fun doing this. I hope you had fun. Please leave comments below on what you would do if you were to be interested in a guy, how you would shoot your shots, okay? And let me know what you guys think about this video, and I will see you on my next video. Thank you guys for watching. Love you. Bye-bye.